While fuel was the main aim of racing action just 1 week ago, it is now a case to bring it back to the good old sprint heat feature scenario that they have to go with. They know that today it is a chance to put 2 good races in the back pocket and realize that this is going to be about how strong your driving prowess is going to be around a circuit that is free for all iRacing members and one that a lot of drivers should have a good amount of running on. We find ourselves up in Scandinavia and the Rudskogen Motor Center, where we get our 3rd round's worth of championship action here with MX5 United and your top 2 in the championship. Jaume Dalmases in 2nd, Adnan Grozdanic who leads, now know that they have to be on best behavior to try and keep their margins up. My name's Jake Sperry. Along with me for today's action, as per usual, is Craig King, with Christian Deploy in the director's chair and using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. But Rudskogen is maybe one of the more underrated Herman Tilke circuits, the redesign that has brought this circuit from national heritage to European status out there in terms of motor racing. Let's take a look with our GSRC track guide to give you a little bit of a know-how.
Welcome to Rudskogen Motor Center. Located about an hour and a half south of Norway's capital of Oslo, the southerly placement allows for a much longer racing season than you'd expect in a Scandinavian country. At just over 2 miles, or 3¼ kilometers in length, the 14-turn track makes for a perfect lower to mid-level racing circuit. A nice amount of elevation change and some truly picturesque scenery makes it not hard on the eyes for fans, but retains a delicious amount of challenges for drivers. There's of course the obvious places for passes, such as into the sharp chicane of turns 1 and 2. But in spite of the long downhill stretch into 3, it's way too fast of a corner to try and overtake unless you're seriously brave. 7 and 8 include a frustrating triple apex sequence that rises, drops, and then rises again, all within what effectively becomes a single corner. There's also the tricky combination of 13's swift entry, then a seemingly never-ending final right-hander to dump you onto the main straight. With it being part of iRacing's base content, drivers are likely to get plenty familiar with this track, and they'll need to, thanks to the very technical layout. But overall, it's easy to see why this is a popular destination for all Norwegian motorsports fans.
Well, imagine it as if this is the Shanghai International Circuit's baby brother as a track, and it will give you all you need to know about what makes this place tick. It's got that big run towards turn number 1, then turn 3 and 4 down the hill gives a great chance to attack. If you're brave, 7, 8, and 9 is a place where it can happen, and then the lunge back again at 10, and then through 13 into 14. There is a lot here in Rokstad where you can go and make these moves and make him really, I would say, intricate passes here, Craig.
Yeah, fantastic places to make moves. And that run from turn 2 to turn 3, you're not seeing the 42-meter elevation difference going down that hill. And it provides a lot of action because that turn 3 into 4, so many different lines. And it's the name of the game here, is there are many different lines around some of these corners, including that turn 1, turn 2 complex, that you really will see a lot of side-by-side action. This is the track used in the MX-5 series on iRacing, so the drivers have a lot of experience. And it's a very popular track for these MX-5 and production car drivers.
It is, and so you will get the opportunity to say, right, this is how aggressive we can be. And in fact, if you've got a few thousand krona out there, you can drive some Porsche GT4s and even get driven around in some GT3 spec Porsches here around Rudskogen. So you've really got the opportunity to open up and say this is a track that does benefit quite a few out there. But as it goes, the championship standings here after a quarter of this season has now been run. It is Adnan Grozdanic who has the control as it stands, but not by as much as he did before. Just the 5 points now between him and Jaume Dalmases. Consistency, the key for Matt Kendall, who is up in 3rd ahead of Ade Koba and Xavier Kane, with Michael Chase in 6th, Giuseppe Milo in 7th position. It then follows David Terron in 8th, Nuno Ferreira 9th, and Lars Fischer is already 74 points adrift there in that 10th position overall. Though, I think also has an interesting story to be attached to it here, Craig, and that we see right now.
Yeah, Jake Ratcliffe, after last week getting some fantastic points, takes the lead of the championship away from Marcher. He got pole position for both weeks, but he is just so far behind right now. 11 points sounds a lot, and it is. Luino right behind as well, just a few points behind Marcher. Van der Moerbeke is well just there, and then the rest of the field still tight there for that top 5. Braden Hope in 5th, 2 points ahead of White and Lind. Lars Ulrich is trying to catch up. Henry Mantle 58 points behind already. And Jorge Keanu Diaz, 60 points behind. That's the amount of points Jake Ratcliffe got last week, just to show how far away they are right now.
Yep, so a lot of work to do for those who have turned up and are making those charges in the championship. So this is going to be for them a case of a long road back if they go Jake Ratcliffe with that control as it currently stands. But for those who are brand new to this series, who don't understand the format and what they have to deal with here today, this is round 3 of 8 in the championship, and this is a sprint round today, which means they will have a 15-minute heat race and a 25-minute feature race to go and put things together. And that 25-minute feature will have itself an invert as it goes through, so keep an eye on that, of an invert of the top 10. They have all the fixed setups, which are identical out there to the baseline, and they will have one spare car available in their races, meaning that if they do crash out on the opening lap here, Craig, they've got a great chance of getting back into the race.
A track like this, where it's probably one of the longer ones of the season, 93 seconds so far in practice for some of these drivers, it means that even if you have to take a tow, you're not going to be losing out on too much time. In these sprint races, you don't want to lose so much time, but you can get back out, maybe get yourself a few positions just with that fast repair, could help you getting into that feature race later on. So very important to just be safe out there, but you do have that little window.
You absolutely do, and we'll keep an eye on those who do find themselves in trouble in the early stages of this race. A fair amount of elevation change around this circuit, so they do have to make a lot of work about as they go for their racing. Qualifying is just about due to start. They'll be allowed 3 laps to go and put their best times on the board. Only 8 minutes, though, to set those lap times in. So they're really going to have to ramp up the pace when they get themselves sorted as far as qualifying goes. The checkered flag has just come out in practice, which means they'll be moving over to that qualifying in the not too distant future. But around here, you're probably looking at getting those tyres up to temperature here, Craig. It will take you a couple of laps to get you into that window, and then you will have to open it up to try and make sure that it will work. Just a 22-degree track temperature today, which means we're a little bit on the chilly side, but I would say for Norway, this is toasty for a track.
Yeah, this is actually pretty toasty. In fact, it almost feels a little bit like I'm almost in England with how warm it is out here. However, this is some of the conditions that they will enjoy out there. If we're also just talking about the temperatures and everything, you've also got to look at what it's like when it comes down to the wind. And the wind today, there is no wind. And that's going to be handy when you're coming down this. And this is that rundown we were talking about into 3 and 4. You see the rocks. It's almost an iconic place for photo shots there. Just seeing that cliff in the background right beside you. Then coming around to this nice S's section through 5, 6, and 7. And then you just go a little bit high up here into this turn 8 to come on down. It's a very confusing and can catch you off elevation change at turn 8 when you come down to turn 9 and get ready for a couple hairpins to end the lap.
Yeah, and those hairpins that end the lap will be testing this one down the hill and back up it again as we focus with Giuseppe Milo, the number 17 machine, out there at this moment. Then working through 12 and 13 and 14 will look to set themselves up. Giuseppe Milo, of course, who is in this championship and has had a little bit of a tough go about things for the start. This P7 at the moment can only pick up 64 championship points at Zandvoort, but it did pick up the low instant bonus of 1 championship point for having less than 3 incidents, being on 2 incident points over the course of the race. So that will be really encouraging out there to pick those points up. And you can see here, this is the highest section of the circuit here coming out of turn 2. It's almost a case like you're driving on public road at this section. And this slingshot through 3 and 4 here, Craig, it just requires commitment. You know you need to hit the brakes. You know you're trying to scrub it. You can see it down to 72, 70 kilometers an hour, 65 at the turn in of 4, and then back up the hill again. You're just trying to straight line as much as you can through this chicane.
Yeah, you want to try and straight line, a few corrections, then over the crest here at turn 8, as we were talking about. Downhill now. Now the tough technical sections are gone. A little bit of kink here into turn 9. And now you get ready to hit some brake. Another downhill braking moment here. Not as hard as turn 3, but you come into turn 10. It's sharper, and it's got a little bit of a rise. And now you have to go up the hill. And now another kink into 11. It's the only two kinks you'll see is 9 and 11. They're different ways. Hard, almost 90 degrees at turn 12 to set yourself up for the end. It's a sweeping 180. It's a long turn, and he has gone a little bit too early in. You can double apex it. Sometimes maybe want to late apex it, but got quite enough runoff here to come across the line to set his first lap time. He'll be happy he's got a banker lap in right now. It will be a 33.649. That, for the moment, just puts him pole until Dario Frattini and Nicholas Goebel retake the lead.
Braden Hope trying to make some progress around the final couple of corners and look over towards the line. Blinks about a bit there, and you can see it there. He's struggling a little bit as he goes. So he'll cross. Adnan Grozdanic goes fastest, and then follows Ade Koba on a 33.3. So he's there in the mix as well. Hameda Masses then in third. Adnan with a little adjustment there of his microphone as he works himself down into turns 3 and 4 once again, but proving there's pace here. Justin Hodge goes third fastest. He'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah, Grozdanic, he's trying to ride this Custer very well. And Moore is driving on, but a lot of time from Justin Hodge. And look how close it is. In fact, the top 10 are less than 3/10, and every gap between each driver is less than a tenth. It is a very close qualifying right now at the top of the field. And that is going to be vital because, remember, you want to get a victory for the first race, even though it means that you're going to be P10 for the second and the feature. But you want to get those points in, and the best place to get points is that early race, that first race. Koba is looking, how is it hard? How do you say to someone, you've got to find 300th of a second to try and get pole position? He's got to try it, though, as he comes around for the final corners.
Yeah, pushing at turn 14, trying to extend out the corner as Giuseppe Milo goes 5th fastest. Nicholas Goebel improves. Hamid Amas now knocked down to P5 as Grozdanic puts a 33.1 down and says, beat that. Ale Koba 33.3, but sees Hamid Amasses currently in second position. 1 lap remains for drivers to find that time. There's Jamie Rigaud, who's there in 13th position at the moment. So the Belgian currently on a 33.9, 0.8 of a second off the pace as they go. Braden Hope currently the best qualifier in AM category as it stands, just ahead of Jake Ratcliffe by about 3/4 of a tenth. And so for the moment, Rigaud looking to try and move up the order.
Yeah, trying to move up the order. Also, Mühlebrücker nowhere to be seen. And that was the man that was P2 in the championship for the AM category. So you're going to need to try and find some times. Remember, if you're new, the timing tower, the white is the pro and the black is the AMs, just to give you an idea on what you're seeing there, and we'll keep you up to date with each classes. Rigoli coming across as well. He's going to be setting times. More drivers. In fact, Grozdanic didn't take his final lap. Just to let you know, he did not take his final lap, and I'm not entirely sure if anyone else is taking their final lap. They may have only fueled the car for 2 laps today.
Yeah. So I think what's happened here is that they got 3 laps available for this, and they've only been told, look, they can do 2. So drivers like Hamid Amasses I think, won't have got the memo, and so because of that, they will be allowed that third lap, and it will have to stand as they go towards the line. Rigol then looking to improve, and Dalmas is short by 0.4 of a second, so will not go and get that time. The rear tyres, though, are the key around this place, though. If you're putting 3 push laps in on the board, though, Craig, you are going to start spiking them in terms of going all out.
Yeah, the rear tyres probably have gone for some of these drivers trying to do a third lap, and that may just hurt them there. Hello, Charles Wolf, just getting ahead of Braden Hope out there as well. So that's a very interesting qualifying time there for Wolf, because that doesn't put him, that puts him ahead of all the AMs, because he's not an AM driver, but that's going to be vital when it comes to the start of the race, as Sandberg continues to go around almost a home track. Well, it's not. He's a Swedish driver in Norway, but it's near enough for him. The closest he'll get on iRacing to a home track, he'll come across the line. For his final lap, he's looking pretty good to try and get some more time. Gets a lot of time, puts that car into 11th.
Yeah, that was needed there to jump up the order and to get close in terms of that attempt. With just 12 seconds to go, the final drivers won't get a chance to get over the line and improve on their qualifying lap. So the field is set here for this qualifying from the Rudskogen Motor Center, and it will be Adnan Grozdanic who has got the car on pole position, your championship leader, on a 133.147. You then got Jaume Dalmases alongside him, and Ade Kober in third. Justin Hodge with a great qualifying. He starts fourth with Nicholas Goebel and Giuseppe Milo. Matt Kendall and Dario Frattini are 7th and 8th, with Adrian Borowski in 9th and Lars Fischer rounding out your top 10.
We get to the next page with Per Sandberg in 11th. Xavier Kane will be 12th with Jamie Rigoli in that unlucky 13. Henry Mackenzie Friedman will take 14th with Ismail Ublau in 15th. Michael Chase will be 16th. Phillips Griffianio will be 17th with Charles Wolf in 18th. Braden Hope will take that 19th, and Jake Ratcliffe rounds out your top 20.
And then over the page where you've got Adrian Lunio in 21st, along with Elijah White. Vincent von der Mühlerbrook is there in 23rd with Bruno Lisboa. Jorge Diaz 25th ahead of Victor Bernas, and Christoph Zander is 27th. The last two cars who will set times will be John Michael Dunnigan then for Solpeck, and Lars Orish, who will be looking to go through. Remy Talens will be doing his job in the book and saying, look, as steward, keep an eye on everybody else out there for what is about to happen. They will be taking a lap around, though, behind the BMW iRacing safety car, and that will be for the chance to get some heat into the tyres and say what you can. And a number of drivers don't quite like this circuit, and there is a good reason why, because this is a circuit that is a tyre wrecker out there. It's got lots of long corners that are designed to make life very difficult. The elevation change, you're often trying to fight for a knife edge in various places with a tiny bit of off-camber cornering going through various sections. So you have to be alert to what the car will do, and it's one where drivers who see what this circuit is as a challenge go, oh, I don't really quite like that. I like my pancake flat, nice and easy circuit.
Yeah, and you think about a 15-minute race, a 25-minute feature race, and the 15-minute race, overheating the tyres could be crucial for those final laps in the race, because you have that issue that if you have too hot tyres, too warm tyres, you're going to struggle with that grip on some of those corners. So you're going to have to be careful that you just don't overdo it. So smooth is fast, and on a track temp of 23 Celsius, that will help drivers. This corner complex here at turn 1 and turn 2, it's not like that famous corner that someone should be taken into a dark room, but it's kind of similar. It's a very sharpish turn 1 left-hander. But what's interesting, when we come to racing, what you're going to see is the drivers who's on the outside of turn 1 usually get the move done and hold that position than if you're trying to send it to the inside of turn 1. So keep an eye on that, because you'll see a bit of that on that second longest straight on the track going into turn 1.
There's Lars Ulrich then, all the way back in P30, effectively 29th, looking to try and run through on a very nice livery car that he's got there. And there is Ade Koba looking to set himself up and try and get back into view in the championship. Running out of fuel last week for him, for the likes of David Teron, who's not here today, really did put a cat amongst the pigeons for many a driver who wanted a strong result.
Yeah, fuel was crucial last week, and it caught a lot of drivers out that we weren't expecting it. And you're still going to see that packed racing mentality today, just not as passive as it was last week. You probably see some drivers looking to make some moves early on, but that fuel, that could cost some drivers some very valuable points. Teron, as we saw, he almost fell out the top 10 as we keep our eyes on Braden Hope here. Almost falling out the top 10 when you're battling for the championship. Very costly. And you take a drop week this week, and you take a bit of a break, come back next week a little bit more refreshed, and it might help you because you get to do an enduro race once again.
Absolutely, and then that will certainly open up the calendar for them, and they'll know that after that enduro in 7 days' time, they'll reach halfway in the terms of the season. But now running through turn number 14 and looking to gear, it's a very narrow pit lane as the pace car has dived off to the left-hand side, and Adnan Grozdanic has control of this field. Jaime Dalmases will look around and say, where will I get that chance? Ade Koba and Justin Hodge sit and wait. The green flag drops and we are underway. And now look at the line from Ade Koba. He was the best of everyone. 3 wide they will be into turn number 1. Grozdanic chucks it in, and Dalmases still puts it as he goes through. Runs off slightly on the circuit. A tag for Ade Koba. He'll drop out the place, and ultimately now Hodge will jump up to 3rd, and Goebel will now look at P4. So immediately off this start, an incredible run. Hodge giving the push now to Jaime Dalmases, who did not get a slowdown for that on the opening lap, and so he will jump through. Grozdanic has a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, had a slowdown penalty, and it was very dicey going through turn 1. Keeps it going. Grozdanic is going backwards. He has served that penalty. That's important, but he's down into 5th position right now. Not where he wants to go in the back of the field. The hard chargers on the start few corners. Müller-Brücker up 4. Zander up 4. Scriffignano up 4. Michael Chase has had a stinker. He's down 8 already today. It's a bit of a send in the background. Frattini trying to get past Milo, but Grozdanic, this is not where he wanted to be in this train. He was at the front. He's now at the back of this 5-car train.
Yeah, and so that has meant, with a little bit of contact between Koba and Goebel, that they're now going to have to sit down. It's Dalmases who leads. It's Hodge in 2nd, and there's Henry Mackenzie Friedman back there in 10th place. He's trying to fend with Lars Fischer, who's not having any love of this here today. Just behind that, there's the passer of Per Sandberg, the Swede, going through on Jamie Rigol for position then, as Xavier Kane sits behind that and says, this is a tough track for me. I'll try and work my way through and deal with what I need to. Rigol having to defend, chucks one back up the inside at 1 and 2, and just about defends the place. But here comes Sandberg having a nibble.
Yeah, Sandberg had a lot of momentum there because the Rigol had to just slow down more than he wanted to. He went in too hot in 1, slowed it all the way down to 2, and Sandberg maybe on the defense again. It's Kane right here looking, what can the Aussie do? He can't do anything. There is an incident between the 2, the 64 and the 30. That's Elijah White in the number 2, the 64 of Zander. And we're going to have a quick replay of what happened here, because this is the start of the race. A little bit dicey coming down into what we just saw. 3 wide, and I do wonder, there it is, yeah. They're just starting to bunch up all together there. Almost looks like movement under braking.
Yeah, Christoph Zander painted himself into a corner by the looks of things there. He didn't want to be in the middle of that group. He didn't look comfortable, and then the moment that they hit the brakes, he finds himself pinballing everybody around him out there, and ultimately that's what makes this race so tough. One mistake in a race of 15 minutes, there's no chance of covering it back. A look from the exhaust of Justin Hodge as he sees the likes of Goebel and Koba and Grozdanic, the three musketeers there, but it is Jaume Dalmases who leads out there to make your Mount Rushmore of MX5 drivers out there in this race. Matt Kendall sitting very comfortably on the back in 6th. Remember, he's 3rd in the championship, and he's just doing what he needs to. Borowski with the fastest lap of the race there. You can see him purple on the timing tower as Koba goes through turn 2, sits in 4th place, and these drivers extending the track as much as they can to get the run down the hill.
It is the 4-tire rule, so that does help some of the drivers here as Koba looking to just wait for opportunity. This is in the back of the field. Mühlebrücker with Scriffignano as well. Now, interesting here. That Nicholas Goebel gone around. Actually, it is.
Oh, it
Goebel's
is.
Gone around. It is. He's had a mistake at turn 2. We'll get back to the AMs later. P3 is off the track.
And Goebel has been cut up by Ade Koba, who also went sliding at that section, was able to recover it. But Nicholas Goebel will look at that and feel very hard done by, because he had the door open to take that big carving line. Ade Koba stuck his nose down the inside and got right into his side.
Yeah, it almost looks like he just washed out of the corner as well, going into that 3-4 section. And now Goebel is going to have to do it again. Here's the replay here. You can see he's gone a little bit defensive. And he has gone very defensive, and he's gone wide. He likes to take this wide line. Door opens up, but it does feel like Koba has gone a bit too hard there. Lost out. He also lost out as well. He's down in 15th place after that moment, so he's going to have to do a little bit of movement. There is also an incident on lap 3, and I think that's the one being investigated. It is the 34 and the 87 also there. So it's interesting. It's 4 wide out of nowhere in the middle of the field.
Oh, watch out into turn 1. That was going to be close. Jamie Rigaud in the middle of all of that. Xavier Kane there too. Sundberg, the one who holds out. It was Sundberg then and Kane who's got to slow down and now has to serve it. And so Rigaud able to hold Ishmael Ublau in this one as well, with Braden Hope, who leads in AM. And then just behind that, Ade Koba, who's trying to work through. Scriffignano, Fonda Mühlebrück then are the ones behind that, as it looks like Jake Ratcliffe has had a moment on circuit 2. He's down in the pits, so that's really hurt. 2 clear though now at the front. Jaume Dalmases Torres and then Justin Hodge, and Adnan Grozdanic is 1.3 seconds back, and he's trying to drag himself and Matt Kendall to the party.
Yeah, and I do wonder if that moment last lap just cost him a little bit. Giuseppe Milo also looking to try and get some mood, but Frattini gets that overtake done and uses all the runoff as well. What's going to be interesting now is, can Grozdanic get back on the back of that field? Because it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We actually had an issue as well with another.
He's dropped.
Driver. It is. Yeah, that's another drop there. Frattini's dropped. So what is happening out there today? He's gone. Grozdanic now basically has to work on his own.
Well, that just tells you all you need to know. Adnan's going to just carry on. Matt Kendall can't keep the pace, and so Giuseppe Milo's there, and that's going to be a slowdown then for Matt Kendall, who drops down. There's Braden Hope. He's quite comfy now in 13th, knowing he's got a big margin to work with. Your AMA category leader out there. He's got Charles Wolfe just behind him. He's got Ade Koba just in front. Xavier Kane, Scriffignano, and then it's Fonda Mühlebrück, who is looking to try and take himself into position. He blinks around a lot then, as Borowski now looks to try and figure out Milo and Kendall now in this scrap for 4th place. And suddenly this group has been given its license to go best of the rest. This is what we want to be.
Yeah, we're just at the halfway stage as well. So now you've got to understand where you are on the track, and you've got to think, this may be where I'll be battling for the rest of the race. So want to try and get ahead there. Milo going a little bit wide. That's going to be interesting. Actually, interesting decision. That moment with Koba, it looks like, and it is, it's a 5-second penalty for Ade there for what happened with that moment earlier in the race with Goebel down at turn 3. Just there he is at 12. That's going to be quite costly, because if he wants to try and get the inverse for the feature, he's going to have to get P10 and then some, with how close everybody is right now.
Now remember, that penalty is only applied to the post-race results. It will not change the invert, so he'll love to gain those 2 places, get up to Jamie Rigol, and then have himself that placement. The issue that you have, though, as you look around, it will cost him effectively 9 places at the moment in terms of this race, 12th down to 21st. Borowski sitting in that line and waiting, as you see Milo and Kendall happy there together right now, as Lars Fischer has worked himself up through. This has been a day for the gainers, though, and the gainers, I would look around, include the likes of Ismail Ublau, Jamie Rigol up 3 places, Braden Hope up 5, Von der Mühlerbrook up 6 in this one, and Christoph Zander up 9. Fischer on the back then of Borowski, looking for a way to the inside at turn 3, trying to wrestle it away at turn 4, commands the apex and says, thank you, I'll have that one.
Commands the apex and then shuts off any chance for Borowski to try and do an over-under cutback there. So he just had to get off the throttle and just be complacent that he's lost that position. And now what can Fischer do in this middle of this pack here? It's tough. You've made one move. Can you make another move? Because ahead, Milo looked at trying to get past Kendall. Not a lot of places for him to go, so he just had to wait. This is battle that I've been also paying attention to, Jay. Grozdanek has caught back up. He gained a few tenths the last couple laps. The moment you get in this slipstream in this Mazda, it really punches the hole through the air, and he's using that to his advantage. Won't be looking for a move just yet, but he's getting close.
Justin Hodge here is struggling to stay on the exact bumper of Jaume Dalmases. This is a case of Justin Hodge finding himself a couple tenths of a second away, needing to use that slipstream. Better lap from him compared to Jaume, 33.7 place 33.6, but it's all the threes for Adnan on that last lap. 33.333 to start closing up to those drivers, letting these packs form. It is a pack of 3, a pack of 4, and then a pack of 5 for your top 12.
Sounds like I'm having my bread roll orders there in the packs, but I prefer a baker's dozen, please. Now, this is a baker's dozen. Jamie Rigoli trying to find some moves as well. Pierre Sandberg ahead, Friedman ahead of him, and then right behind is Jamie Ublau, and you can see that's a very ambitious move. Going a bit too wide there is Rigoli, sorry, and Ublau trying to make that move. It doesn't work, and that's a tough one to make around turn 4, because like I was saying, you've got so many different lines at 3 and 4 that you have to be a little bit careful here.
Oh, right it goes.
It goes around, and Koba with another moment there.
Well, Koba had nowhere to go as he was trying to get himself figured out, and then as the back stepped out, Ade had nowhere to dart away from, had to initiate the contact. When it rains, it pours for him, and he now finds himself mired in that 11th place up the hill with Xavier Kane behind him and Braden Hope, as he will realise that he's looking for any help, and he almost had it with Jamie Rigol having a little bit of a slide, as Grozdanek now will look to line up this 3rd place now to turn to 2nd, and now he'll see that it's about staying on to the likes of those of Jaume Dalmases. Here comes the look to the inside, and I don't think there's going to be much argument here, but it's the inside of 2 that Justin Hodge can hold. You're going to let Jaume out to a 2nd now, lads.
Yeah, they don't want to be fighting too much. The over-under from Grozdanek out of 2 may help him here, but it's going to be tough down to turn 3. I wonder if he can actually make this side-by-side. Got all the space in the world here, and I think, yeah, Hodge has got no choice. He's just going to have to yield, let back, and let's see what he can do. This could be vital, because now Grozdanek with, I'm going to say, 2 more laps to go after this.
Whoa!
Really Milo looking for a bit of a lunge, and he gets it, but they've still got side-by-side. Through the S is very dangerous, and he'll just have to yield again. Fischer, around the outside, makes that move.
Wow, Lars Fischer needed to get that done. He managed it, and ultimately, with the lunge down the inside it was initially, it then turned to a crossover attempt that didn't quite pull its weight out there. Grozdanek as well, as he went to turn 3. Did you see that fist bump there, Craig, and how he went, nice, that's the way I needed to do it, up and under him out of 2 and get down to the inside at turn 3. That's where the race is, but I wonder if there's enough time left on the clock, because we are down under 3 minutes to go, and so you're really going to have to motor if you want to go and win this race. Jaume Dalmases realizes 0.6 of a second is the margin that he's got, and I think he might have to defend on this final lap of the race, but they've still got one more before that.
What has he got? He needs to actually make a gap this time by. And what's interesting is Grosdanic's made that move once. And I did say going into the start of the race, you can't really send it into turn 1 because you do lose out. We've seen it work for one driver because he went too hot into turn 2. Grosdanic and Hodge, they made that normal, and then Grosdanic had to use the over-under. I don't think he's going to be able to make that move this time by as we look through the fire and the flames again. Dalmases, he needs to make this a lap worth it, because if he just gets too much of Grosdanic's bumper on his rear, it's over. And look at the overtaking chances here, Jake. Really, on that last lap, you've only got a couple. Into turn 1, into turn 3, and maybe a late lunge into turn 10.
And maybe they might have to use the lap traffic of Jake Ratcliffe in front of them when they head to that final lap, because Ratcliffe is only a couple of seconds down the road and they might catch that. Adnan closing it up then to 0.5 of a second, and he's been quick, but I think he's been stuck a little bit, Craig.
Yeah, he's been stuck. I think the dirty air is starting to hinder him a little bit. He's trying to get some clear air to just keep it going, and you can see him. He's just chugging along right now. But look at the adjustments he's having to make on the steering wheel, making sure he doesn't overheat the tires. 4/10, I don't think that's going to be close enough. So you're going to have to cross out, and with a little bit of a slide there, cross out turn 1 as an overtaking opportunity. He knows it as well. You can see it on his face there, Jake.
Yeah, he really had to catch that oversteer through the middle of the corner going on to the final lap. The best chance has gone, and now he's going to need to be absolutely pixel perfect on this final lap, knowing that he's got Justin Hodge behind him as well. He can't afford any slip-up or mistake. There is Adrian Lugnio now as he looks to try and work himself in a battle right now, and that is with Michael Chase as he looks for the inside. He's not going to quite manage that at the moment. No looks then down at 3 and 4, but the gap still at 3.5 of a second. There's a chance at 10, and you just feel that you've just got to run up this hill through the S's and over the top of the crest for 7 and 8, and you're looking for any lasting help that's going to give you something. Jaume Dalmases has been nothing but perfect in that Zenith Esports car. He knows that he's only had to drive the race he's needed in front of him. Everyone else behind has been making mistakes. He diamonds off the exit a little bit. That will bring the gap then to 3.5. And Adnan Grozdanic, I think, is looking for a way he can go and make that lunge, but he's running out of time through turn 12, heading to 14. They've dropped Justin Hodge on this final lap, but they will know as they enter the final corner that Jaume Dalmases has stuck to his guns. He has been resolute, and these two will fight for the championship right down to the very wire. Jaume Dalmases, you can see by Adnan, he claps his hands and says, I resign in defeat on this one. Jaume Dalmases wins here at Rudskogen.
Milo tried to get that P5 from Fisher, and he was trying hard, could not get it. Hey, Jamie Rigoli gets that P10, and look at the gap. It was a slow final lap, but Koba could not get there. Nicholas Goebel will finish in 16th with that recovery. Zander will come ahead with Van Wielblucker. A little bit of bump at the end there for Ublau. Just who gets that one? It is going to be Ublau over White. Very close, but key thing here, Ade Koba, 11th.
Just on the wrong side of Lady Luck for that one, and critically as the last cars come over, that is your winner, and he is trying to walk himself up into the championship lead here after 3 rounds worth of racing, and it will look like this in terms of result. Jaume Dalmases getting it done in 15 minutes and 41 seconds, and he will win by a margin of 3/10 over Adnan Grozdanic, with Justin Hodge in 3rd. Matt Kendall and Lars Fischer will be 4th and 5th, ahead of Giuseppe Milo and Adrian Borowski, with Henry Mackenzie Friedman 8th, Per Sandberg in 9th place, and Jamie Rigol rounding out your top 10.
We head to 11, and it's Ade Koba. That's a bit of a surprise in 11th. Javier Kane will be in 12th with Braden Hope in 13th. Charles Wolfe will be 14th with Phillips Griffinanio in 15th. Nicholas Goebel will take 16th with Christoph Zander in 17th. Van der Meulebucker made up 5 places to be 18th. Michael Chase goes into 19th. Adrian Luino will round out your top 20.
Over the page in 21st would be John Michael Dunnigan. He would win the drag race to the line over Ishmael Ublal as Elijah White would watch it in 23rd. Bruno Lisboa and Lars Ulrich would be 24th and 25th ahead of Jorge Diaz and Victor Bernas. Jake Ratcliffe would be the last one finishing in 28th. The drop for Dario Frattini pretty much saying, well, welcome to the series, a tough day at the office to be had. We are going to get the chance to talk to a couple of drivers, and I think we'll have to go over and have our good chat with Adnan Grozdanic, because Adnan, a slowdown penalty on lap 1 is normally the worst time to go and get it, so to only lose the few positions to go back to position number 4, position 5 out there, and then to work the way back up to second, that's what you call a sterling effort.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. The guys behind have sent it 3 wide into turn 1, which I kind of wanted to prevent. It's a very tight corner, so yeah, I was happy that I'm on the inside, but also not happy because I have the slowdown risk, not them. Yeah, I took it back to P5 and yeah, happy to finish P2.
Very happy to do so. You certainly were looking to try and get that pace, but ultimately it looked like you would have had a run on that final lap of the race were it not for that little wiggle that you had coming onto the final lap through turn 14. How critical was that for you, and will you be looking at that SimLab wheel and stuff going, not quite what I wanted?
Yeah, that definitely has cost me the final lap battle. I was not close enough to even make a move on Jaume. But a big shout out to Justin. He actually lifted after we were side by side. He said you can have the position. I want to give a huge shout out to him because I'm really happy that he has finally a good result because he had so much bad luck in the last races. So good to see you up here, Justin.
Right, very quickly then, you've got 25 minutes to come along with the feature. How do you look to tackle this one from P10? You've got Ade Koba behind you, you've got Jaume Dalmases as well behind you too, and then you've got a litany of quick drivers in front. How do you look to make those moves one at a time?
So I have to take it easy. I mean, we all have to take it easy. The tire degradation and the tire heat buildup is insane here on this track, even though the temperatures are really cold. But I think tire management will play a huge role for the last couple of laps. So I'm going to take a bit care of my tires, I would say.
Well, we'll wish you a very good race 2 of tonight. Adnan Grozdanic joining us then and picking up the result of second place over the opening race's worth of action. Craig, we're about a minute away, just under, from gridding up for the 25 minutes of this feature. You add an extra 10 minutes, you invert that grid, and drivers will feel like they've got time because they've got an extra 10 minutes. That's, you know, an extra 60% of the race. It's now about sit down, find the positions, and let the track give you the opportunities of those passes.
If the first race was anything to go by, with the way that we had so many free wide moments going into the first few corners, it just shows that the drivers will probably want to set themselves up and play it safer. And that may help some of those drivers at the bottom of that top 10. I also look at Ade Koba. You just brought it up there in the interview. He's going to be 11th. That would usually be a bad thing. But with the drivers with him, you could almost say that you're going to see Dalmes, you're going to see Grozdanic, you're going to see Hodge, and you may also see him working together to get to the front to then have their battles. That would be the smart play. And with 25 minutes, you feel that that extra 60%, which I think comes to about 5 laps, should be very handy to them.
You also got to remember Nicholas Goebel is down the order as well. He'll be definitely wanting to jump up into the top 10 or maybe even a little bit better than that. Grid now sets itself for this feature race of 25 minutes, and it will be on the pole position Jamie Rigol, the Belgian, who will have control, and then it is a Scandinavian here in Norway alongside the Swede of Per Sandberg, who will be there. It will then follow with Henry Mackenzie Friedman and Adrian Borowski third and fourth. Giuseppe Milo will go from fifth ahead of Lars Fischer, with Matt Kendall and Justin Hodge seventh and eighth. We don't say enough of it. Matt Kendall is uber consistent right now. He's not flashy, he just gets the points. Adnan Grozdanic will start this one in ninth, with Jaume Dalmases in 10th.
As the sun sets down, we were just talking about it. Ade Koba will be in 11th. Javier Kane, will be in 12th. And then Braden Hope takes an unlucky 13th, with Charles Wolfe in 14th. Phillips Grifanano will be 15th. Nicholas Goebel in the 008 will be 16th, followed by Christoph Zander in 17th. And Vincent van der Meulenbroeke trying to get some more points in the amateurs in 18th. Michael Chase will be 19th, with Adrian Luino rounding out that top 20.
Over to the final 5 rows of the grid, where John Michael Dunnigan and Ishmael Ublau will be holding themselves steady, with Elijah White and Bruno Lisboa. It will then be Lars Ulrich and Jorge Diaz, with Victor Bernas and Jake Ratcliffe on row 14. Ratcliffe's going to have a lot of work to do. Dario Frattini, I don't think is going to be taking the start then here in this one. He will call his night out early, and he will be looking to jump and say, this is what I can do. And I'm just getting notes in that there are issues for Justin Hodge out there in terms of his connection, and he has just dropped on the formation lap. So that is a huge kick in the teeth for Justin after a good race one.
He finally had some good luck out there, finally had a good result, and he's just lost it. The key thing is this is a long formation lap, so maybe he can get connected again, but usually when someone disconnects, you expect to see them snap straight back in. I feel this could be something else than just the hardware. I hope it's not some sort of power outage at the moment. This is horrific. He was on course for a really good week, and he'll get a good result in the sprint, but for the feature, he might get a goose egg right now, not what he wants.
He'll need to get in quickly, and he will have to start from pit lane if he does get himself back out there on track. So that is a real big shame, and we can all blame Adnan Grozdanic for that, for putting the mark of it, saying he's done really well, There you go, as that goes about. But it now means one less car for Adnan, Jaume and Ade to get through. Same with Nicholas Goebel a little bit further back in the pack. But these opening 5 minutes, I think, are going to set the tone for this race on who's going to be out there, who's going to be aggressive, and who maybe is going to sit back and relax and say, look, I'm not going to make these moves straight away. I'm going to find a better way to manage this and make it all work. So sit back, strap yourself in. This is what racing is all about with MX5 United. Round through the final chicane, the final couple corners even, they go. The pace car will dive off of the circuit. Jamie Rigol will have the control of the field as he will look to launch. Then here at Rudskogen Motor Centre, it's an early green flag around here, and there is the drop of it, and they are underway. Immediately it's Borowski who will move out to the outside. Henry Mackenzie Freeman gets a good launch, and there's immediate defences as they try and figure their lines out. 3 wide, 2 deep as they go in. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. All there trying to find a line. Little bit of bumps in the middle. Pushed out wide is Giuseppe Milo in the 17th, but the run is clear up there at the front of the field. It's a good start by Jamie Rigol.
It's a fantastic start as well for Dalmaze. He's up 5 positions. Borowski ahead of him, looking at Friedman, looking for a move on Sandberg, and they're going to go side by side. Very messy start because it almost felt like a Sandberg goes down, and hello Dalmaze making a move. It almost felt like Rigoli just was caught sleeping and everyone couldn't get anywhere going. Really caught everyone got up there at the start.
Yeah, it did, and so because everyone got a little bit caught up, everyone was in a little bit of the wrong place at the wrong time. Matt Kendall will find 8th place. He's okay at the moment on this launch. A bit of side-by-side then as Xavier Kane, who's had a great go, and then look at them going either side, and a big drop down the order there, as I believe that would have been Lars Fischer finding himself with nowhere to go with the slowdown penalty.
Yeah, where could he go? And he had to just get split in the middle. It was kind of like Hakkinen there on Spa, having to just allow things. Koba gets on through, Grosdanik gets on through. They haven't made the start like Dalmaze has made, and that is something really crazy. And he's not the biggest gainer in one lap this so far. Jake Ratcliffe made up 7. You also look at Dunnigan, made up 7. But Dalmaze making up 6 places with just an aggressive start that allowed him out of turn 2 to get a real good run. He just made that up by just everyone, as I was saying, being too aggressive at that start.
Everyone wanted places, and you get eyes bigger than the belly when you reverse the field like this. It's very touring car, and this is the precursor to touring car style racing out there. You learn in the lower formulas out there, and pretty much in any regional series that you do. Sandberg in third, watching Jaume Dalmases, who's getting 6, try and pick his pocket out of turn 4. He's going to get caught with his hand in the cookie jar, though, and he's not going to get that move, but he might have another attempt to be the artful dodger up through 6, 7, and 8, and looking maybe over at turn 10.
But Jake, you got to pick a pocket or 2, and that's what he's looking at right now. He's shown Sandberg that you can't leave the door open, even if it's the dog flap. You can't leave it open, and you can see really trying to be aggressive there to just make those moves, and he is using his tires up a little bit here, and I do wonder, is that the right ploy? He wants to get up to the front to get all the points. He's trying to get there a bit too quick, and I wonder if that's going to hurt him. Just needs to keep it calm, because look at this train behind. He knows that he's in the train. He has to accept he's in the train. He can't lead right now. Borowski's right behind him. Milo's there as well, and if they're not too careful, in fact, well, look at it. Let's put one big Scandinavian blanket over them. That's 11 cars all in a train.
And there is the multi-call of Lars Fischer, then with another slowdown penalty there that hurts him. So that will give Nicholas Goebel 11th place and put him with the driver he had contact with one race ago. Ade Cobra in front, Kane runs wide, and so there goes Adnan, and you feel you want to be holding on to his coattails right now if you're Ade Cobra, and he finds that way to go through with a very calm look at making that pass, and look at how much wheel work he has to do through that section of the circuit. It is the one we have the biggest appreciation of what gravity does to the car, and you get the feel of it through the steering wheel that the back just wants to step out every chance it gets.
That's a 640 meter straight, a 42 meter elevation change. And if you're not using a full round wheel and you've got a GT style formula wheel like most of these drivers are, you're going to feel everything there, every bump, every course correction, and you have to fight it. And that's what they're doing, and you see it. If you had a bigger wheel, you'd have a dead zone, and you'd have to make those small adjustments that you wouldn't feel. So you want all that feeling, especially when you're here right now in this pack, trying to make sure you don't cause contact with anybody. That's what they're trying to do, is keep it calm and keep it collected. But this is really good for Grosdanik and Koba. They may only be up 1 and 2 places, but right ahead of them is the main battles. Milo trying to hold off Kendall, and he's doing a good job, but at some point someone's going to have to push the China store open to make some moves, because this can't be like this for the next 20 minutes.
It won't be like this for 20 minutes, and you know it won't be. Dalmases had to force Per Sandberg into a slightly defensive position as they tried to work and say, look, we are a group right now, we are a long train, but what can you do? The battle behind that is between Ublau and also Charles Wolff, and leading AM at the moment is currently Adrian Lugnot in 18th place, so he's got that to work with at this moment with Vincent von der Mühlerbrook. And look at John Michael Dunnigan try and find a way through. The Solpec car takes a massive tap, he goes into the gravel, tries to save it. Will he get it all covered up for the next apex? Somehow there's no one around him when he comes back.
He got lucky there, but he was very aggressive, and look at him still being a little bit aggressive there on Luino to get on by, just trying to make that hole we saw with some of the wrecks earlier in the first race, and that's what happened there. Dunnigan still battling here with Luino, but he's on the wrong side of turn 10 and almost goes in, and in fact Mühlerbrook now wants to go in. This is not where he wants to be, but we have to look at what Luino's doing, keeping it calm. He's wearing a red shirt today. I don't know if that's any significant, but he is just keeping it calm. And another driver using that GT style wheel, really trying to get the best of it, the Frenchman, doing well, And when you have to battle a 7K driver and you're about 2.5K, it's very tough.
Well, what is tough right now is Grosdanic trying to get by Matt Kendall, having none of it on this scrap. Into the opening couple corners they go. Grosdanic now will procure the inside for 2, gives a hit to Matt Kendall at a Cobra. Cookies, that's mine. I'm going to steal one and take the place away. And so there is not much you can do, but look at that. This is the freight train. He's on the wrong side. There's battles on for third as again Sundberg has to defend his line as Dalmas's off the road with a massive technical glitch as he goes through the corner. He would have had a screen freeze right through the middle of the corner there, and it would have scared him off the road and straight out of the lead group.
Straight out the lead group, had to serve a slowdown out of the top 10. He did the right thing, though. He just kept it straight. Well, not that you could do anything, you don't know what's happening. Kept it clean, and I think that's important because that could have been a big moment in the race had he actually collected some of those drivers. But he's going to have to do all that work, and think about it. He started 10th, and he was battling in the top 3, and he's going to have to do it again in 17 minutes. It's going to be tough. Advantage goes back to Grosdanic and Koba. This could be interesting, but right now, they're nowhere near the front. It's these three. Per Sandberg, Friedman, Rigoli. You've got Milo, Borowski there as well. This train is still 10 cars deep, but Dalmaze is not in it, and that's important.
And this is the group of drivers who are in and around that top 15 in the championship. I look around and see, where is Jamie Rigol in this championship? He will be a little bit down the order out there overall with his days that he's been trying to put in together. So he's wanting a little bit of a jump up to say, look, I can go and make it happen. Per Sandberg is 26th in the championship for reference. So Henry Mackenzie Friedman 16th. So you start looking around and going, well, if these drivers are so far down the championship order, I'm going to get a chance to really jump up. Milo sitting in the line with Borowski, Sandberg, Friedman, Rigol. And it's showing today that with the lack of a big long straight out there, with the exception being turn 1, you know, you're really going to struggle to make these moves. And we're seeing these drivers having to place and predict. And that is a big difference. Grosdanic on the back has jumped away from Ade Koba to the tune of 7/10.
Yeah, when you've got a place that holds TCR Scandinavian races, you can understand why we've seen some bumping and running by some of these drivers today, just needing to get some elbows out to really make some moves, and that is desperation showing. Some of these cars couldn't make those moves, and it goes to explain why there was the aggressive starts in the feature, the aggressive starts in the sprint. The drivers are looking at desperation moves, and once again trying to do it. And I look back at that move that Grosdanic made on Kendall. The bump and the hit there through turn 2 was not on purpose, but it's just the nature of that turn 1, turn 2 combo. It worked for Grosdanic around the outside of 1. Now these drivers have to do it, but am I seeing a gap between Rigoli and Friedman? That's kind of interesting, because we may have a cork in the champagne bottle here. Friedman's starting to lose out a bit here.
And that's because he's going to have to look behind at Per Sandberg. He's got to look behind at Borowski, at Milo, at Grosdanic, and knows that he can't just put all his eggs in the basket of I'm just looking forward because I can get overtaken through turns 3 and 4 if I'm not paying attention. He's got to work to stay with the Belgian leading this race. And so now you start thinking with Henry Mackenzie Friedman, where do I go and do it? Adnan Grosdanic, little correction there, trying to work through up in the S's. He doesn't have an angle on Giuseppe Milo, but he is going to steal one down the inside. He's going to try and get the march. And Milo here will have the inside at 9 and the inside at turn 10. This is the way you're going to have to make moves. You're going to have to earn them out there. You're going to have to try and find the 50%, the 30%, sometimes even the 10% up the hill. No clearance there for Giuseppe Milo. Inside now for Adnan Grosdanic. 3 corners worth of work to get it done. And finally, he says, you will yield.
And the important thing is he didn't lose much time. He's still in that field. He's still there with Borowski right behind, but you start to see the sliding out over that crest at 8, costing Milo, and it's almost like an oval move there. You're out of the first line. Well, I'm going to take the first line, says Grosdanic, and he had to. He knew how important it was as we're coming to the halfway stage of the race. Had to look for that move, and Milo he fought as much as he could, but not getting clear coming out of turn 10 was the death knell for him, and he had to just surrender, and he was lucky. He
Slow
did.
down, Sandberg.
With a slow down.
Oh, that's going to hurt. He's got to get up to speed. He'll lose it all down the straight. And then that's going to be Grozdanic through and Adekova surely looking at this one. Giuseppe Milo now going to go around the outside of Per Sandberg to try and get this done. He'll run slightly off the circuit. Adekova has to jump on the brakes. They go through there, but suddenly it all starts to get closer. The slowdown for Rigol, as now he'll lose the lead. Henry Mackenzie Friedman now in control. Inside for Borowski will go through. Grozdanic up to third.
And some of these showing the fact that almost a spin there. Sandberg almost just hitting the spin, but now they're going to go 2 by 2 down at the line, coming there into turn 10. You've got Sandberg and Rigoli. You've got Milo and Koba. And I wonder who's going to take this. In fact,
Kendall.
In fact, Kendall's now come involved. So now that one little moment there, Rigol having the slowdown has just cost everybody. And you feel some of these drivers were looking comfortable today, Jake, in this feature race. All of a sudden, with slowdowns and mistakes, they've handed the victory, or a shot at the victory, back to Grozdanic.
They have, and it's about keeping yourself faultless. And Adekova now up into P6. Milo scrapping with Kendall and Goebel, and they've allowed on the back of that train the black and green of Jaume Dalmases to now try and score some points. Grozdanic fighting against Borowski. This for second. He'll try the outside again. Borowski tries to shut the door on him and gets it as he goes through. So he did just enough, did the Paul Borowski, to keep the Bosnian Grozdanic behind.
Yeah, he actually just realised the move, and I think as well, Grozdanic, he had no choice. He had to get on the brakes, because if he went a little bit more to the right, it would have been a slowdown. And we saw what happened with Sandberg last time out on the last lap, where he had to take a slowdown. So very smart there for Grozdanic. Live to fight another day, but he's tried that move around once, and it worked. Trying it again, but fear it, run for it. You can't escape it. Dalmaze is back on this train, and I wonder if he's going to, look at the slide there, Jake. He's going to look for any opportunity at 8. If you go too wide, he's putting his nose there, and you better be prepared.
Any nibble that you start finding is going to be causing troubles. And now as they work, Borowski has to leave a little bit of door for Jamie Rigol to try and get back to the podium. It's now a case of look where you can. Luño now up into P15 as your leader in AM, as Xavier Kane is out of the race then here in this one, so he falls into troubles. But it is Henry Mackenzie Friedman, 10 minutes left on the clock, and he knows that he's the only bastion between him and Adnan Grozdanic in terms of picking up points and results. Jamie Rigol is looking to bring himself closer into this too, and a thought about it at turn 1, a lift out then from Adnan against Friedman.
Dalmaze making a move as well. I wonder, was Grozdanic testing the waters there? That's what it felt like to me. It almost felt like a little bit of testing the waters, just see if there is a reaction under braking. He was fully under the control. Goebel does not decide to fight this because they've lost some time to the rest of the field. So he's going to let Dalmaze catch up to Kendall so he can catch up. They're all just bunching up here, coming around turn 4. And that's just helping Grozdanic at the front, helping Friedman as well, because everyone's just bunching. And again, key thing, I look at this, Adekova, we know the pedigree. He's not been able to make any moves out here today. He's still stuck in P6. He's made 5 places up, yes, but that's all he's been able to do.
Yeah, it's been tough, and Giuseppe Milo sees it as now for the race lead outside of 10. Oh my goodness me, is Adnan going to find the inside here at turn 12 and force his way by Henry Mackenzie Friedman? Yes, he does. What a move by Adnan Grozdanic, but Henry is going to cut him straight back. He'll be on the wrong side at 40 on the brakes. He has to leave the room, does Adnan, and Henry Mackenzie Friedman puts a lesson back on the championship leader. Oh, they race aggressive here in this series with 9:17, and Borowski might want something to say.
He might want something to say, but I tell you what, Friedman, look at him playing defense. He knows what Grozdanic can do here at turn 1, and he was looking at it, and he bunches them all up. Koba, he must have heard me. He's gone up a position here. Kendall now looking for other positions as well, but he's been forced around the outside, and here comes Dalmaze. He's going to go side by side with Kendall down the field, and Milo has a choice of who he wants to give a toe to, and he's giving a toe to Dalmaze, not on purpose, but he's afraid that Dalmaze is going to look for a move here. Front of the field as well. More chances. Grosdanic's gone a bit too wide here, Jake, and he's going to almost lose out on P2 to Borowski.
Borowski trying to have a nibble as Dalmases is going to get the move, and now they jump up. Rigol loses out. Ade Koba's got the hurry up contact back there for Dalmases, just gets the clearance on the Italian Milo. So Grozdanic still holds second. He'll have to use a lap to go up, and Milo is kicked right out the back of the group.
Yeah, it was nowhere for him to go, and he's been having issues at turn 8 all race, and I think it's just been catch up to him one too many times. Koba, he heard us. He heard Mia more than anything like that. Really starting to make some moves, but I think he realized Grozdanic is close enough to take that lead, and he almost took that lead last time out. And I wonder if Grozdanic got that lead with 7 minutes to go, Jake, how far ahead could he have got from Friedman? Because Friedman's a great driver. Grosdanic's also a great driver, and that's the reason why Grozdanic is at the front of the championship, because he knows how to make some gaps here. And look at the defense that Friedman is showing right now, right to the wall as the Serpentine comes out.
Look, Mackenzie Freeman's doing everything. Ade dives down Borowski, and is he going to force his way? Yes, he is. Borowski had to counter steer out of it to avoid contact as he went through, and that will now bring Jamie Rigol back into play as they go. Top two clear, and now Adnan has got this one. Hand-to-hand combat left now here with Henry Mackenzie Freeman. Exactly what he wants. Tries to pick his pocket, has to go to the outside. He looked around, he thought, I can steal the inside, then thought better of it. Henry is driving such a defensive line out there. It is catching everybody in quicksand.
Yeah, that's actually a real good defense. And you can see on the face of Grozdanic a little bit of surprise, a little bit of respect, a little bit of frustration there. And he's just going to have to now think, I've tried to sell the dummy coming down into turn 3. What else can I do? He's defending so aggressively into turn 1. He's going to have to go once again around the outside of turn 10, but he's not close enough to make it. And look who's right behind him. It's the Spaniard. Koba's right there. Now who has to get a move on, Jake? It's no longer Koba. It's Grozdanic. No, around the outside of turn 10. No, can't make that stick.
Not at 12, you can't make it happen, but there's a reason why they call him El Capitan Fantastico. He finds ways where others don't. Door is left open though. Henry Mackenzie Friedman has left a chance for Adnan Grozdanic. Now it's a duel at the straight as they go towards turn number 1 with 6 minutes to go. Ade Koba will now look to close, and he might push it to 3 wide into turn 1. He says no. Mackenzie Friedman chucks it up the inside. He overcooks the corner, goes through the middle. Now can he serve the slowdown in time? Will he through this section? I think he might have just got away with it, so he's lucky that he hasn't picked one up. Now as they work themselves into 3 again, the group will coagulate once more. A push through the corner. Koba goes to the outside. This is such frustrating driving, and Koba slides one down the inside of one Adnan Grozdanic, and 2 heavyweights start fighting it out for second. Grozdanic holds.
Yeah, they need that position. I think Friedman, he was defending so aggressively. He tried to get last of the late breakers into turn 1, and it worked, but somehow he overcooked it, got away with it. But how long can you play with fire? It's going to be very tough for him to keep doing that, because every corner that Grozdanic has a chance to make a move, well, Friedman's had a response, but does he have a response to whatever Grosdanic's going to be cooking up right now? Because he realizes if he makes a mistake, Koba's right behind, and we've got to talk as well. Behind, Dalmaze going up the order as well. He's just taken P6 away from Sandberg. Now there's 4.5 minutes left to go here, Jake. Anything can still happen here. Look at the different lines being taken coming out of the final corner. Just wait. We may get that 3 wide.
Jaime Dalmases then finally dispatches of Per Sandberg all the way to the pit wall. Everyone goes. Henry Mackenzie Friedman back across to take his natural line, and the brake lights light up in the Norwegian evening, and they try and figure out where is the best place to go, and it's a case of can't quite figure him out at the moment. Henry Mackenzie Friedman, this has been a dogged defence. He has defended like his very life has been on the line. If he loses this race, he's going to get punished for it. But as they work themselves to 3 again, he is middle of the road. He is blocking up the apexes. Right now, it's a case of nobody can seem to clear the mess in front. And look at Rudskogen try and save it. Oh, he gets turned across by Koba. Everyone scatters, and round goes Jaume Dalmases as well.
That was not what Koba was looking to do. He tried to just back off the corner, and more spins from these two in the championship leaders. They were just trying to back off the corner to set themselves up, and more carnage. It's a yellow flag out for a reason, boys. You've got to respect it. Dalmases was going to probably get away, trying to get some point. It will be a tow. Grosdanek keeps on going, not happy. And I wonder if that's going to be looked at. Remember, Koba does, yeah, it's actually just been looked at. Big incident, all the cars getting looked for investigation. That was unfortunate, and I got to say, I think Koba got a little bit desperate there.
I think that was more than desperate. I think that was a case of, I need that place. Everyone is sitting around saying, what can you do? Jaume's not pleased. He says thanks and says my day's done because of everything that's gone on. I think he could penalise about 4 or 5 different drivers in that one, but there is no mistaking what has happened out there. Henry Mackenzie Friedman is 2.3 seconds clear with 2.5 minutes to go, just over. Kendall, this one for 8th and 9th now as it sits, battling hard and just clears the likes of Per Sandberg.
Gets it going. That 2.3 seconds. Let's look at the replay, though. This is the moment. Now, Koba, he goes for a later move. I was looking at it. He backed off to get a run, and he had a run. But turn 5, at some point, Grosdanek has to turn left. And we know, as you were saying at the start here, Jake, that 5, 6, and 7 combo, you want to keep it as straight as you can. You can't really go side by side if you force the issue. Then the little tap there, if they're both trying to get on going, that's a little bit unfortunate. We don't see the rest. We don't need to see the rest. I do feel, as you were saying, Koba, a little bit too aggressive. That's a straight line chicane there, not a place to try and send it too wide.
Well, he never had the clearance, first and foremost. He does have second. He might pick up penalty, though. This, in terms of the championship, is huge for him because he knows that Grosdanek is down in 12th and out is Jaume Dalmases, so he'll pick up points, but he'll lose them all on penalty. So he knows that this is going to be a day where he need him more, and quietly, whisper it quietly, Matt Kendall's not getting much either. A good chance for Nicholas Goebel to gain points back, and the championship switches up on a paradigm. 1 lap remains in this one. Michael Chase now in a scrap hard. Then this with your AM leader, Adrian Lugnio, who has gone up to 13th place, and he's done wonderfully over the course of this one, has Adrian, to just hold himself steady, to look around, assess what has been going along around him, and he has done a great job of it. Charles Wolff then is just behind him, and so they are all trying to sit down and say, can we just prioritise this finish on what has been a crazy, crazy race? And all of that carnage started about by that man there who leads this field, Henry Mackenzie Friedman. You defend like you are just never going to let it slip. And he knew that every corner had to be hard fought for. He got the elbows out and then some through each and every single place. He's still got a 1.5 seconds. The legs will be shaking right now for Henry. Every single braking zone is going to feel like an eternity. Nicholas Goebel gets through on Jamie Regol, a pass then for 4th on the final lap of the race. You've got Lars Fischer as well, who will be looking for places too out there, as it is Regol seeing Giuseppe Milo now go up through and gain a place. Borowski still thinks he can get second, but nobody's going to be stopping this guy. It's Grosdanek jumps to 11th past Christoph Zander. Henry Mackenzie Friedman, 1 corner away with a wonderful defence out there to get it sorted, and he gets 10 seconds of penalty, but it's all about this guy. Henry Mackenzie Friedman gets it done. He wins, and you can't do better, and he knows it.
A little bit of a run at the end for Rigoli and Fischer, and Rigoli just get past Fischer. Grosdanek's going to come across the line. Remember, Koba had 5 seconds from the first race, so it's 15 seconds he gets. Koba actually finishes, oh, we're going to have to do the maths, He's going to finish behind Grosdanek by about 3 positions. I'm working out it probably round out about 14th, 15th position for Koba after everything. Lars Ulrich is going to come across the line. Last driver is just coming across. It will be Scrifanio, will be the last man. Here he is, the German. And a wonderful little livery there. It all looks like rainbows and kittens and sunshine. Not a lot of sunshine out here today, though, Jake. A lot of unhappy faces.
Well, you have to call it the internet machine, because the internet is really, really great for cat videos out there, and that's what Scriffignano is representing out there today. But it is a marquee win for Henry Mackenzie Friedman, and he gets it done by 1.6 in the end over Ade Koba and Adrian Borowski. Nicholas Goebel will take a critical 4th place ahead of Giuseppe Milo and Jamie Rigol, who were dropped back to 6th on the final lap. 5,000 the difference between him and Lars Fischer over the line, as just behind them would be Ishmael Ublau, who started 22nd on the grid and finished in 8th, a gain, your biggest gainer of the field of 14 places overall. Matt Kendall will be there in 9th place, with Per Sandberg rounding your top 10.
Well, Adnan Grosdanek will be in 11th, followed by Christoph Zander, who went up 5 places. And Adrian Luino wins out in the AMS, up 7 to 13th. Charles Wolf will be in 14th, with Michael Chase in 15th. Vincent van der Mudderbucker will be in 16th, with Braden Hope down into 17th. Elijah White will be 18th. Jake Ratcliffe made up 9 to be 19th. Lars Ulrich rounds out your top 20.
3 more drivers on the lead lap would be Victor Bernas, Jorge Diaz, and Philip Scriffignano, making up 23. Jaume Dalmases then will be the first car as a retiree. He joins John Michael Dunnigan, who had his own incident with Bruno Lisboa. Xavier Kane also ran into troubles in that race, as well as Justin Hodge, who dropped before the start, and no start in that one for Dario Frattini after issues in Italy for him. There is, though, opportunities to talk to some more drivers out there after what was a crazy second race of tonight. We will go with the driver who finishes off this race in P number 4 here today, Nicholas Goebel, who joins us now. And Nicholas, a day today, you have that race one which doesn't go your way. You're all the way back in 16th, so you need a little bit of fortune to help get yourself up, knowing how tough it is to overtake. And my, did you get it?
Yeah. I'm actually quite surprised to get back up in the standings so far. No, as you said, it's very hard to overtake here, very technical track. The tires are shot after basically 4 laps. So in the end, you try to get a good run. In the end, I didn't do a lot of overtakes. I profited from others doing mistakes, getting slowdowns. It's very easy to make a mistake here. And yeah, now I'm actually quite happy with where I ended up. I didn't think I would go back up this far in the standings after that initial contact on lap 3 of the first race.
So with that initial contact bringing itself into play and then having to do that work to come back, you look around at the groups of drivers who are there and are fighting. How impressed are you with those drivers in this field, knowing that they're inside the top 10 and they're properly defending each and every single corner?
Yeah, it's definitely it's something to watch. It's really nice to see. I think we don't have that quality of a field in the officials nowadays, so it's very nice to get such a skilled group of drivers together and going side by side, being able to hold an inside line and not shoving anyone outside on the exit of the track. So it's very nice to see that much respect between all the drivers, and I think just considering how close it is in qualifying, we all anticipated it would be close in the race yet again. So yeah, really nice. Really nice overall to be in this league, and yeah, thanks to Adnan for setting it all up, and thanks to you guys for commentating on it.
Well, that's not a problem at all. But Nicholas, very quickly before we let you go, Sebring and a feature at Sebring. It's one of those circuits which we see time and again. It's all about that run onto the Ullman Straight on the last lap. Do you feel that you're going to get yourself as much of a chance with everyone around fighting for that sort of real estate at a legendary track like Sebring?
Yeah, I hope so. So I definitely learned from the last endurance race. So last time I didn't take any tires. I didn't refuel enough. So hopefully that won't be a problem in Sebring. So I'll try and get a good run. In the end, it will probably be a very long race at Sebring. I'm waiting for that final turn, getting a good run, and then it's gloves off. So yeah.
We'll wish you the best of luck in 7 days' time. Nicholas Goebel there joining us and picking up 4th place after running. Craig, just before we jump off, you've got a bit of housekeeping to do with a couple of penalties that have come in.
Just a couple of penalties. Dalmaze, we saw that what started that whole chain reaction after the incident at the S's, 20-second penalty. He did retire, but it's only going to be a 20-second penalty now. That would just go on to where he finishes. And there is also a racing incident between that big one afterwards as well. From the 30, the 33, there's 00, and the 2, which was Elijah White, Charles Wolfe, all those drivers that got caught up in that spin there. They were just trying to get out the way, but they had to get out the way of a car that kind of rejoined a little bit unsafely there. And that's with a 20-second penalty there for Dalmaze. Doesn't affect where he finishes.
No, it doesn't, but it will mean that in 7 days' time, when we head over to the Sebring International Raceway, that it is going to be a circuit where you are going to be seeing these drivers trying to pick lines up. Great places to pass almost everywhere. And when you give a large circuit small cars, drafting is the essential. You'll catch it again, 8:15 UTC, 3:15 Eastern, with us on the 18th of November for that racing action. Now, also keep in mind that here, as part of a Genesis Extreme production, we've got a lot more coming along over the course of this week into the weekend. Skip Barbers will be heading to Okayama for the next round out there. That will be on Thursday, and then you've got the Grand Prix legends heading over to Road America. SimRacing Republic is back for endurance racing with us. That will be over at the Circuit de Nevers Magny-Cours, and then the full course of VIR is opening up for IMSA Vintage, and a very IMSA feel at a circuit like that indeed. But from the team that's brought it to you today, from Christian Deploy, Dougie Beard, Craig King, my name is Jake Sperry, and now it's about the next stage for these drivers. After a crazy race, they know that this is going to be about staying away from the dramas that come along. Every single hit that goes through now has a huge ramification next to it, and everybody at the pointy end of the championship got slapped about with something they didn't want for an end result here at Rudskogen. But it does reset the slate when they head in 7 days' time to a circuit of Sebring, which does everything you want out of MX5 style racing and then some. But they know one thing today at Rudskogen. His name is Henry Mackenzie Friedman, and he was better than everyone, and everyone knows it.
This is iRacing.